Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Proudly South African webinar under the theme, The Power of Collaboration, SMEs Growing Together. My name is Anele Ndlovu, and I will be your facilitator this afternoon. And I'm so glad we're all here. When I read the theme and I read what we will be discussing today, and I was preparing for today, I thought the fact that we are already here is us collaborating, it's us coming together, it's us working together, it is us growing together. So even before we hear our esteemed speakers share on their specific topics, being here today is already us collaborating. And that's exactly who Proudly South African also is bringing business owners together, bringing entrepreneurs together to say, how is it that we can help you grow? How is it that we can help you understand the business landscape, the economic landscape? How is it, as Proudly South African says, buy local to create jobs? How is it that we can help you to buy local, to source local, to then create jobs in your environment? So this topic on its own, without us getting even deep into it, we're already living it, and I hope that even after we have heard the speakers, I hope even when we go back into our spaces, we reflect on what we have heard today, but we continue to come to spaces like this. We continue to use platforms that Proudly South African gives us to come together to learn, because through learning, through idea sharing, that is part of partnerships, that is part of forming those collaborations. So well done to you for being here today. Today's webinar, it focuses on how collaboration is going to help SMEs grow through partnerships, through networking, through shared resources, and collaborative innovation. And the objectives of today's webinar are to educate SMEs on collaboration for growth, encourage networking and partnerships, highlight practical collaboration methods, showcase successful collaboration examples, and promote buying local and job creation, and also to inspire innovation and problem solving. And I love the part about showcasing successful collaboration examples, because you may be sitting in your business right now and you maybe haven't seen examples of how has collaboration worked for someone or for certain businesses or organizations. And I'm sure as our speakers share on the different topics, which are all under the main theme of the power of collaboration, you'll be able to see, oh, it is possible to collaborate, it is possible to partner, it is possible to network, and for you to use the examples that will be shared to in your business so that you can grow. And what I love about this topic about collaboration, I think it's also going to show that yes, we may be competitors in the market, but sometimes even as competitors, we can come together to say, how have things worked for you, especially if you're a startup and you're new in the industry or in the business landscape, to go to those who have been in the business for longer and just to find out from them, what did you do when you started out? How was the landscape when you started out? How is it now? What is it that you've done to get to where you are? That is part of collaborating. That's part of learning from each other. And that's part of us growing together. So don't just look at other people who are in the same industry as you as a threat and as just as a competitor. They can also be a source of learning and a source of growing for you. I would like to, before we get into our speakers, I'm very excited to hear from our speakers. But some of you may be new to this platform. It may be the first time that you are attending a Proudly South African webinar. You've heard the name Proudly South African, but you're not really sure who they are. We have our executive manager, Janine van Straten, who is going to just briefly tell us about who Proudly South African is, the mandate, how you can become a member, the programs that Proudly South African has. And if you would like to know more about the organization, please visit the Proudly South African website. We are also on social platforms. We are also on YouTube, where this particular webinar and other webinars are also on, for you just to go and familiarize yourself with who the brand is, what the organization stands for, and how you can join other such webinars or any of the initiatives that Proudly South African is involved in helping us to buy local and to create jobs. Janine, over to you.
Thank you so much, Anela, our program director for today. And a nice and big friendly hello to everybody joining us on the webinar. It's always good to see that the numbers are so high. I know only the very interesting topics have a good number of people attending, and today's most certainly no exception. So this is wonderful. I'm going to share my screen with you, and just to tell you, as per what Anela had said, a little bit more about our mandates, the work that we do. And as she rightly did say, it is all about collaboration. That's the only way we can work to make sure that our members have success in terms of what they do in the business, etc. So I'm Janine, and I'll be with you today during the course of today's webinar. So we often look and just always take a step back, especially if it's our first engagement with new companies, etc. And the country continues to face a triple challenge. And I know this is this slide just showcases that triple challenge so beautifully in terms of what the country is facing. And proudly I say, rightly so, our we have for the longest of time have made it known why it is that we exist. And the call to action has always been buy local to create jobs. And it really talks about the triple challenge. So it's poverty, inequality, and unemployment. But from our perspective, we are of the opinion that if unemployment is alleviated, then so too can inequality and poverty also be resolved if we create jobs. And you'll see the example of the shoe and in terms of inequality. You know, if you have a job, of course the likelihood of you having a purchasing power to buy differently will be a part of your daily life. And that's really important that we look at that and consider that. And the inequalities really stands out, and that's in that image specifically. It's the reason for our existence is really to highlight the importance of where we can make a difference as not just businesses or individuals, but you are looking at the unemployment rates in the country remains high. It still has climbed since these figures. But if you look at 31.4%, in accordance with this slide, is the unemployment rate. And if you look at people have given up on jobs, the expanded definition, that does go to a higher, over 40 something percent. So it really is, it's a dire situation. And it does require attention in terms of what that means for our country, for how strong we are economically speaking, as well as then the unemployment, inequality, and poverty line that a lot of our people are facing, those living within the borders of the country. We have put, and these stats are we brought back these stats just to showcase what we do think, has been, in terms of our membership base, is a beautiful example. If you look at where we need to be at a country, so the National Development Plan estimated that SMME contribution to GDP is at 45% when we prepared this slide, but the target by 2030 should be 90%. So that is really in a space of 3+ years, just over 3 years. So there's a lot of pressure, especially on small businesses, to make a difference. And this is really where the collaboration comes into play, whereby we have seen as part of our membership base, when forces are joined and collaboration is it's an action word, it's a verb. So you have to really show up, and you have to meet people, and you have to be and show interest and passion because that's creativity is born, and that's where great minds meet and come together. And we have, in many, many examples, have set the tone for many of our members to really heed the call and collaborate. And in so doing, they have really grown. And it's been just phenomenal to witness such success stories within our membership base. And we're so grateful that we could provide them with some opportunities to have made that happen. So our mandate, we're a not-for-profit company, but we have all the social partners of NEDLAC on our board, so we're very well represented. But we have three key focus areas. We do influence those buying in the public sector, so those in government, the state, and the private sector, so corporates, as big, small businesses, as well as the consumer, you as the individual. When you do have a buying power, to always look out for the Proudly SA logo when you do buy, or look out for the Made in SA label of origin. So that really is what our mandate is, plain and simple. If you look at Buy Local campaign, so Proudly South African is a Buy Local campaign. And this is just not unique to South Africa. If you've had the privilege of traveling, you would notice that many other countries have their own initiatives at play. And even those that are stronger than us, economically speaking, they also have a Buy Local campaign. So it's important to note. And we, as Proudly South African, have worked with many other Buy Local campaigns, especially in Africa. We've consulted a lot of them, assisted a lot of them. So we know it's a formula that is working, and other countries have taken note of our formula. So we're always open to collaboration with other Buy Local campaigns. And it also helps us to improve on our offering, our value proposition to members, and to ensure that our campaign is more impactful. So you're on the call today. The importance of localizations also, it's our task to educate. So it really is, and it is really multitudinal. And these are some of the examples. It's if you localize, and I'll take you through what that really means. It could mean a lot of things, but if you localize, you are contributing to job retention and the creation of new jobs, skills development, economic development, improved living standards, empowerment, infrastructure development, and increase in GDP. I think that's very important, and that is Proudly SA's task, is to educate any procuring entity, whether it be an individual or those for their company or the state, to do the right thing. Unfortunately, this is not a good slide to share because it doesn't portray healthy or good numbers. If you look at the furniture industry over the last 30 years, it's really a third of what it used to be in terms of the number of factories that are in existence. It's now 25,000, slightly, I know it's increased by a slight bit, but it's apologies, it's 1,100 looking at the factories, 1,100 as of 2020, whereby it was 3,500. We had 3,500 plants back in 1999. And the direct number of jobs have also been influenced. We're sitting over, that industry is really halved. And we think it's due to imports. It's our procuring habits. That's why factories had to close down. This slide talks about collaboration. It looks at the value chain of furniture. It is multitudinal. If you're thinking about you sitting on a seat right now, there are lots of components to the furniture that we use as part of our work, as if we go to school, if at home. So it's something that we touch every single day of our lives. And it's the value chain here is really quite vast. If you think about all the ins and outs, there's a design element, there's a manufacturing element, and there's a selling element. And then also raw materials and components. If there's a break in this value chain, and this is really what has happened, it really affects a multitude of companies. And that's why we think this industry has suffered in these last 30 years because of imports and the value chains that have been disrupted. So really the onus is on us to make sure that we look after industry, to make sure factories don't shut down. And we're doing our part in order to make that happen. Collaboration is key, and market access is also key. And that's what I'd like to share with you. We did put out some figures and a study, if you would, back in COVID, because there was a lot of kickback from those in the media saying that localization is too expensive, we cannot afford it. But we did a study with an independent economist, and he did prove that if there is a 10% investment in the manufacturing sector, it is it's only positive results in the medium term. And for us, if you contribute 10% additional to local industry, over 75,000 jobs could be created. So it does make a difference. And this study is available for you to have a read through. We have broken down different subsectors within manufacturing. So we looked at a vast number, some in agro processing, manufacturing in general, and a lot of consumer-facing products, but also looking at also industrial and commercial products, etc. So please do, when you have a moment, go through that. It's available on our website, that study. So I'd made mention of our mandates is to lobby and lobby and to advocate for anybody buying, public sector, private sector, and consumers to buy local. But also now we've got a fourth element that we promote accessibility of locally made products and services. So if you think Proudly SA as a business, please do think of us as an access to market partner. Within the ecosystem, that is where we sit. We do not have the resources to fund, unfortunately, companies. We don't help with compliance. We do vet you, though, I must admit. We do vet you, but we do have partners, and they are phenomenal collaborators. We do call on them to assist our members, and we often host these webinars to introduce companies or organizations that can help with your business. That's not our area of expertise. So we do put you in touch with those who can help if you do struggle with any a part of the ecosystem that your business might be needing guidance on, etc. So we are on access to markets. So looking at the work that we're doing in the public sector very fast. Yes, the regulations on how the public sector buys have come out and is open for public comment. It does close on the 15th of June. We just want to advise our members that we are submitting our inputs. We do have your interests at heart, but you and all your right also can give your comments. So the deadline's the 15th of June, but we have had many talks with National Treasury, with various government departments, and we've really come up with a good submission. So we do think that the regulations that will come out will really support industry and localization. So we're quite excited for that. So that's a lot of the work that we do. But also we lobby. So over and beyond that type of work, we lobby for the public sector, for government entities, to include local content provisions in their own policies. And that they then get audited in accordance with those. And that's really what we want them to do, is to really put localization at the forefront. And a lot of government departments that we've been working with have done that. A lot of, you're looking at Gauteng, Tshwane, specifically City of Joburg, also in KZN. So eThekwini has come up with a policy, and the work that we do continues in that regard. We're also working with SOEs and SEZ, so the special economic zones, for instance. And then we also have a tender monitoring in place. So if you're a company, you would like to be put in touch with tender opportunities, we've got a beautiful AI system. You'll have your own, you'll make it bespoke in accordance with the type of keywords you'd like to receive, and those tenders then get delivered to your own system. So I think this is brilliant, and it's something, it's ensuring that Proudly SA becomes more digital, more efficient in our operations, and make the value proposition for members really really phenomenal and world class. We're very proud of that. Then with regards, if you want to do business with government, you have to be on the central supplier database. So we are putting out some communication to our members just to remind them that this is in play. If they want to be on the CSD, we can help make that happen quite easily so, because of an integration with that system. But also going forward, we have asked that the Proudly SA logo, or at least a phrase that differentiates any other manufacturer or service provider from the rest, really makes you stand out, so that you can use that phrase or our logo on the CSD, so that anybody buying for government, where there is a local content stipulation in a policy or in a tender document, that they know who you are, that you really stand out. So I think that's a great benefit that we can offer for our member companies. Then also looking at other endeavors, we also have our own online store called Shop Proudly SA. It's relatively new. We launched it last year in July, and we've got in the region of about 2,600 products. We've never been late, not once, in making a single delivery. So it's really running sterlingly, and we really want to encourage you, join the campaign, list your products on Shop Proudly SA. It's free of charge for you to list your products. And we do charge a small commission, but that's just to make sure that we can break even with the site. And there's a warehousing capability that we're introducing. There is B2C and B2B capability, but I think very important that we are also collaborating with the DTIC's exports branch. And we are looking at export promotion and development with other partners, including the DTIC, to help our members go abroad. So that is something that is so new to us. It's quite scary, but rest assured, we're doing it with the right partners to really provide you more access to market opportunities internationally. So this is a very exciting time for Proudly South African. This gives you an idea of the look and feel, but it's constantly being updated. It's really something we're really, really proud of. And if you do have time, please do scan the QR code here. You'll have quick access to the store itself. So if you are a member company not yet on Shop Proudly SA, please be in touch with us. We'll give you an email address and we'll assist you to make that happen. If you would like to become a member, we'll also give you that information. And then also, of course, if you are interested to buy from our membership base, please utilize that QR code for that purpose. So the Shop Proudly SA is a transactional site, but we also have a new B2B AI tool. That's the market access platform. We have been speaking about MAP for a long, long time, but we're so excited that it's a new AI tool. We have put the communication out. On the 22nd of June, we'll be hosting another webinar to take our members through the AI tool that is the market access platform. We've liaised with about 230 buyers that are really on the system. We've asked them to utilize it more widely, and we are going to be looking at getting at least 10,000 businesses on as buyers to buy from our membership base on the market access platform. But what's also exciting about this tool, it's also integratable. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but I think it is. It can be integrated with a lot of corporates' own procurement systems. So we are going to make supreme inroads for our members in order to get you more clients and to keep you busy, to keep your doors open for you to grow and employ more people. That really is what the messaging is all about. Looking at commitments we've received. So we have introduced tools to uplift the work that we're doing, but that market access platform is also there in place for those who have given us commitments, and they've been over 100 companies that have given commitments. And these are some of the sectors where we've made great headway. But we did initially collect these commitments, and we looked at them and we thought, how can we give them life? It's important that they don't just sit in an email, or it's not just a commitment on a stage. It's got to be tangible. We've got to make it happen, provide our members with a solution. And we have the market access platform whereby these commitments that corporates have given us can be realized by use and through the introduction and collaboration with our member companies. So we really want our members to benefit from any localization procurement commitments made by any industry. And that's what the market access platform was all about. So if you are an entity that would like to buy local, please utilize this QR code to visit the site and to really play around a little bit, familiarize yourself with the system. And if you are a member of Proudly SA, not yet on that, I implore you, please do join us. This system is really gonna take you places in terms of looking at your growth and to ensure that you stand out when we do go and visit and get the commitments from corporate South Africa. Also looking at the private sector work that we're doing to promote our membership base. It's all geared towards access to markets again, but we have our own Buy Local Summit and Expo. It's been in the works for 15 editions. That will be the next one's 15th edition next year, March. It's a place for us to introduce you to corporate buyers over the 2-day period, for you to be part of the movement, for you to be introduced to the public sector, procuring entities, etc. So it really is an impactful 2 days that appeal to every single person living within the borders of the country in terms of what we have on offer and also how you can make a difference. We also have connected with other e-commerce partners. So they allow our members to use the Proud SA logo or the phrase. We've negotiated sometimes waiving of listing fees, sometimes just a reduction in listing fees. But it helps us when we say, it's Father's Day. Our members' products are on these e-commerce stores. So it really amplifies. There's no exclusivity. We've got our own store, but we're also collaborating with others. And in most instances, which we as Party SA is very proud of, you'll find local pages, Nzansi pages on all the well-loved e-commerce sites. And that's the work that we've been doing since 2020. So it really has grown in leaps and bounds in terms of getting more partners on board for collaboration. We also have our local wine expo where we take corporate buyers in the hospitality space, as well as retailers, wholesalers, distributors to buy from our membership base at the local wine expo. We also buy into third-party expos. We host pavilions for our members. We have the localization commitments, as I've mentioned before. We arrange for matchmaking, listing on the market access platform. Of course, we've got also a website where our members are prevalent in. And then in the consumer space, this slide does not do justice. We really do our best to work with or to appeal for consumers, for our member products rather, services to appeal to consumers through the online platforms that we have, that we are working with, that are not just our own, but including our own. We also part of retail programs, are sometimes linked to the master plans, and of course the commitments. We also then buy pavilion space for consumer events such as, at times, if budget allows, the Delicious Festival. We at Acts Now, which is a beautiful festival at a big church, for instance. Thousands of visitors go there. We part of social media campaigns, website listings, local fashion police, also our own flagship events, as well as other observation days such as Black Friday, festive season, back to school, etc. So I hope I've given you a sense of what membership benefits are. I've connected you with a lot of our events, activations, PR elements that we do have available for our membership base. But if you're not yet a member of Proud SA, we will be vetting you. If you do have an interest to join us, we look at your local content levels if you're manufacturing. So we need at least 50% of the final cost of production must take place within the borders of the country. If you're a service provider, you're not making a product, we look to see where you're buying from. Who else are you supporting? You're supporting other South African businesses. We also check to see if you adhere to the quality criteria for your industry. Perhaps you need to be verified by SABS. Perhaps if you're a caterer, you need a food acceptability certificate from the municipality. So we will take it on an ad hoc basis, a case-by-case basis in terms of measuring your quality, also looking at whether your company adheres to fair labor practices and safer environmental standards. It's a quick and painless process, and our membership team will really assist you to answer these questions, provide us with documentation to confirm, and the team is really, really fast. And what I'd like to showcase is that the list of the benefits are here. So of course, it's the use of the logo on your marketing corporate collateral, as well as qualifying products, preferential listing on e-commerce sites, our own joint promotions on consumer targeted campaigns, so PR arm of the business, you'll benefit there, participation in major events and exhibitions, announcement of your membership in our newsletter, listing on our online platforms, MAP, Shop Proud SA, as well as then introduction to procurement officials via networking events and supply chain workshops. We have great collaborations with the Tourism Business Council, CGCSA, Consumer Goods Council, the Franchise Association, and for us, those relationships work because those associations also have a wonderful membership base, and they already convert, they already support local, so we really want you to benefit there. But also participation in our annual flagship event, the Buy Local Summit and Expo, participation in sector-specific industry events and national trade shows, no charge to you, a participation in various localization programs with the private sector, tender opportunities via our own new AI system, recognition as a member of Proudly SA on the Central Supply Database, and then also governmental localization programs. So those are the commitments that we've received, and you can benefit there. This is just to showcase that it's no longer, we're not mandating you to use the logo in the full 6 colors. There are other options. You can go monochrome, and the options are there dependent on your own corporate colors. Your membership fee for the year is only 500 Rand if your turnover is less than 5 million. As your annual sales turnover increases, so does your membership fee. And the maximum tier is 100,000 Rand per annum for a company turning over 100 million Rand or more. So it is affordable, and please do join the campaign. I am going to leave you with an ad. It just showcases the next phase of our messaging, which is about legacy. You'll see loved here, made here is what we're using now. The Be Proudly South African, buy local to create jobs is still our call to action, but the loved here, made here appeals to the heart. And our members have beautiful stories to tell, and we'll continue to tell them so that you support our membership base, and hope you join the campaign. I'll share this ad with you, and then also the email address that you can contact us at. Thank you.
There's a voice that is calling, loudly calling, day by day, the voice of the future.
When I started my business, all I wanted was to create jobs and a legacy for the next generation, because I see opportunity when others see impossibility.
It all started with a thought and then a seed in the garden, which grew into my very own farm that feeds the whole nation daily.
Cotton, silk, and a little bit of treasure, I create masterpieces that give South Africans an identity, comfort, and confidence, because when you look good, you feel good.
From the factory workers to the warehouse and then over the seas, I want to show the world what proudly South African looks like. It all started with just some ink on paper and inspiration to bring people together. With my furniture, I now help create spaces that are beautiful, comfortable, and authentic to human light and connection.
I've always been driven by curiosity. It fueled my dreams to create automobiles that accelerate our nation into greater possibilities and the beauty of the unknown.
I was born into a rainbow nation. My life has been full of colors and mixed flavors. And when I started my bakery, I wanted to share that joy with the world and with South Africans in particular.
All I ever dreamt of was to be a bird and fly high. And now I have the wings to help others fulfill their dreams of flying high too.
But it can only be a dream until you make it a reality. All they need is your faith, your trust, your loyalty, your appreciation.
And most importantly,
Your support.
because supporting local businesses
Helps create jobs
And secures our future.
South Africa, their future is in your hands. So what are you going to do about it? Be proudly South African. Buy local to create jobs.
Thank you for the hearts. And here's our contact page. If you'd like to become a member, or you're a member not taking advantage of all the access to market opportunities we have on offer, please do contact us at info@proudlysa.co.za. Our telephone number is also there, 0111 327 7778, and our website, proudlysa.co.za. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Janine, for that in-depth, what do you call it? Telling us about Proudly South African, giving us the detail, and I can see people are they showing lots of love for what you have shared, and I hope that's going to translate to Proudly SA getting more members, getting more collaborations, and more support for all the good work that we do. I love that ad. Like, I cannot get tired of it. Every time I see it, I'm just like, oh, Let's keep supporting each other so that the kids, the youth, the young people, even the old people who are starting businesses, they can live their dreams and we can buy local and we can create jobs. So thank you very much. Please do visit our pages just to get a bit more information, especially if you missed the beginning of Janine's talk and unpacking of who Proudly South African is. We are now going to move to our speakers. They are the highlights of today because of their expertise, because of their experience, and what it is that they will share with us. And I know just from experience of being part of the Proudly South African family that the team always chooses people who are just perfect for what we discuss, who share so much knowledge, who have the skill sets, who really help in us moving our businesses forward. We've got 3 speakers today. And as I mentioned earlier on, that the main theme is the power of collaboration, SMEs growing together. But each speaker then has their own theme, which feeds off the main theme. And as I introduce each speaker, I'll introduce the topic that they will be speaking on and just briefly what that topic is going to speak on. So you have an idea of, as the speaker is going to speak, this is what they will be speaking on. Our first speaker is Johan Olivia, and he is the executive director at Ranyaga Co-Creates. And Johan's theme is collaboration across the local supply chain. Collaboration across the local supply chain. And this theme is going to highlight the importance of supporting and sourcing from local businesses to strengthen the local value chain and create jobs and stimulate economic growth and communities. Johan, we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Yeah, thanks, Angela. Hope everybody can hear.
Yes, we can.
And thanks you very much for the opportunity. Thanks, Janine. Chof, I've learned already in this last few minutes so much already. I just want to share the presentation. Angela, can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so my name is Johan Olivier. I'm a qualified city planner or urban planner. I started my career in 1994. You can see the gray when we didn't have cell phones and internet. And since then, we've seen so many changes. And I think one of the questions that we wanted to pursue since we started the career also was, how do we take the areas that for other people look really down and not safe and all that, but how do we change that into areas that really bring value to their local communities and, of course, to buyers and consumers outside of those areas. To do that, we created 3 entities. The one is Ranyaka, which Aniela introduced, which is a non-profit company. I'm also representing Share, which is a full-profit company, a social enterprise. Because if we talk economics, we need to be involved also in the economics, meaning that if the bottle of water don't sell or if the fed cook don't sell, then we didn't have did our job. And then the latest, and I'm really excited about Janine also said about the platforms, is we've partnered with a small startup called Orbit Labs, because I think in the communities there's also quite a lot of opportunity to start to use digital and AI to prepare the sort of the supply side. Janine, so we sit on the other side. We sit in the communities where there's so much opportunity, there's so much enterprises that we work with. But they're not always ready to use all of these opportunities, like what Janine have said, showed us this morning. And I think the big thing is why collaborate is there's money. We need to start to bring money back into our townships and reinvest into where most of our people are, where most of the unemployment are. And I think, Janine, you will also know better than Anela, it's difficult to find the exact figure, but public procurement is 2 trillion rand annually. And some of the research say if you add in the corporate, that's 5 trillion rand a year that's available for small businesses to access. But the challenge, of course, is our individual small enterprises cannot meet this demand with the current supply chain approaches. So they can be registered on everything, but to supply those type of tenders, you need to be very, very well organized. And I think we sit on that side. And if you look at the opportunity that's starting to open up for our township entrepreneurs to start to play a much bigger role, this picture is sort of the old way supply chains are running. I think South Africa is still using this quite a lot. Globally, the guys are starting to change. Very linear. You need a lot of capital, big warehouses, a lot of trucks. It costs a lot. So for the smaller guys to do this is just not attainable at the moment. But these value chain or these supply chains are really, really vulnerable if COVID, for example, hits, or ESCOM is not necessarily doing its job, or any of the other sort of global issues that we face with. Very high transport costs. And as I say, if there's any disruption, that supplier chain really struggles. And we've seen it now through COVID and even some of the riots that we experienced, I think, in 2021. But there's an opportunity. The latest supply chain approaches are moving much more to if there's multiple routes that we need to use. They need to be more resilient and adaptive. The information flows are totally different, so it's not just a linear up and down. And they need to start to connect into your local and your regional economies. And of course, these new way of thinking, all the supply chain experts are, then we need greater flexibility. Now, what we've seen is this approach mirrors actually quite a lot what's already happening in our townships. And I think that's why we're quite excited about what the changes are. So although township economies, there's a lot of constraints, and we all know that crime and infrastructure and all that, but they also have very good strength in terms of supply chain, especially in this new approach. The smaller enterprises or entrepreneurs we work with in a number of townships are very relational, so they know each other, they stay next to each other, they're very adaptive, and they hustle quite a lot. So if anything changes in the environment, at least the places where we work, it's actually amazing to see how local entrepreneurs and enterprises just change what they need to do, think on their feet, adapt their processes. They're very locally connected, especially with some of your local clients, your churches, your schools, your local businesses. And the thing that I learned a lot about our township entrepreneurs is how they share resources. If the bakkie breaks down in the morning, there's always somebody with a battery or another uncle that's got a bakkie, and they make sure that they share things and that they can deliver on their promises. And then, of course, key for supply chains is your trust networks. You need to be able to trust that somebody that works next to you will be able to deliver on what you've promised. And I think this is where the opportunity lies at the moment. Is it possible that we can organize our local entrepreneurs and enterprises to become these local supply networks that's connected to this regional demand and the procurement demand that Janine also spoke about? And they fit already what the world is moving in terms of the new way of how supply chains and value chains should work. And I think this is where we at the moment are really trying to find how do we organize our local economies and the resources that's there so that we can start to be really good supply chain networks across the country that can start to really access these opportunities of the procurement or even their local markets. But, and this is always the thing, it's a collective effort in a specific place, like a Mamelodi where we're working, or a Khayelitsha, or a Umlazi. And that's why I'm so excited about what Janine also said, because it's all sometimes difficult to know who buys what. Because as a business, I need to make sure I fill a gap. So if I don't make something or have a service that there's no buyer through, it's very difficult. So the platforms that Janine spoke about, it's so incredibly that we can start to get that market information. The second one, and it's especially struggling in our township areas, is shared infrastructure and spaces. We do a lot of measurements in all the areas that we work. And the thing that's always on top of people's requests are we don't have spaces where we can package and manufacture and distribute from. So everybody's now trying out of a garage or a backyard shack or something to do this. So this is an incredibly important thing. Can we create these sort of safe spaces and infrastructure where local enterprises can get together and where there's shared services also? And then if we can do that, then I think we can start to really supply bigger opportunities together. At the moment, a lot of the small enterprises are chasing smaller tenders, smaller opportunities. We've just seen that where there's collaboration across the supply chain, that we can actually do bigger things. Critically, our quality, our standards, our timing, again, what Janine says around there should be a standard of how we do things, critical. And then digital allow us to coordinate so much better at the local community level. And if we coordinate better, we also speak better to our community members, which is also our clients. So that's quite important for that. Just as an example, this is the Co-Create Hub. I think Monique visited it early in the year, where we were fortunate enough to work with local stakeholders to create this sort of collective production space for a number of entrepreneurs coming out of the local communities. And we've already seen that if we start to collaborate with the university that's here in Stellenbosch, the municipality, some of the bigger corporates, that some of our entrepreneurs has now already got onto the procurement lists. They've registered at the university, and we can start to see the flow of not small tenders anymore. Some of them are really big ones at the moment already. And this group has changed now through the year, but a lot of them are really assisting each other, helping each other, sharing networks and connections. And currently we've got the Stellenbosch one. We're busy looking at these sort of collaborative production spaces and supply chain micro hubs in Mamelodi and Tembisa, Katoris, also in KwaMashu, Umlazi, down in the Cape in Khayelitsha. And as a town planner, your space is so critical. If there's not a space that's safe and clean where people can come and package products and make the logistics easier, it's very, very difficult to respond to some of these tender opportunities that's on platforms. So we've really seen it work well. We know what the standards are for these guys to work with. But I think the main thing is the individuals. Well, if you come in and you see somebody that's confident in their space, confident in their business, they are confident in going for tenders because they know they're not alone. And I think that's the thing that sometimes is more worth than just getting the actual tender, is to see how people just grow in confidence to take bigger things on as a collective. So I think that just in closing, there's so many benefits if we start to collaborate at the local level, like in the township areas, definitely more local businesses. We need to create jobs, local jobs. And then, of course, how much of that value can stay local. So a number of our entrepreneurs are already starting to give back into the community, especially in some social programs, because they are from those communities. So our question, what we talked a lot with our participants, our partners in these various townships, is the opportunities are already there. Again, Janine has shown so much in terms of what there is outside there. But our biggest question is still whether local businesses can organize strongly enough so that we can supply together access these opportunities that's available for us. So I don't know. The question is, can we sort of re-industrialize our township areas and set up the supply networks that's aligned with legislation and that can really start to create these networks of opportunity and creating jobs for locals and start to reinvest back into their communities. Yeah, so that's from my side. Really excited about Proudly South Africa also and everything that's available there. But yeah, there's an urgency in us that we need to start to collaborate and build and get the supply networks going so that we can really make a difference and change in the country. Thank you very much, Aniela. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Johan. Thank you so much. I think, what you shared was very simple, but it made a lot of sense, and it was easy to follow and easy to understand. Just some of the points that I took from what you shared is local businesses need each other. Supply chains are changing, so SMEs need to change with the times. When we connect, we are able to speak better to each other, and that's how we can then come together. Collaborations help you are not facing things alone, because sometimes you think whatever you're facing in your business is an isolated issue. But when you start to speak to other people, you actually find that, and I wrote that point when you were talking about the tender process, that when people start helping each other in the tender process, they actually see that, oh, I'm not alone in maybe not understanding certain things, and we can help each other out. And lastly, the last slide that you shared, the benefits of collaboration, more local businesses, more local jobs, more value, and the supply chain staying locally. So thank you very much for that. We will take questions. So if you do have questions for Johan, please just note them, or you can write them in the Q&A section. And once the other two speakers are done, we will then take questions and Johan will be able to answer your questions for you. Thank you. I'd like to invite our second speaker, who is Lee Hayes. Lee is the regional manager for the Western Cape at FP&M CETA. And Lee's topic is building strategic partnerships for business growth. And this topic is going to explore how SMEs can collaborate with other businesses, suppliers, corporates, and industry organizations to unlock new opportunities and partnerships. Lee, please take it over. Lee, I'm not sure if you are ready to join us. We'll just give it another minute. Okay, I see Lee's camera is on.
No. Hi, can you hear me, Nele?
Yes, hi.
Hi there. Hi, sorry,
We can
I'm not.
hear you. We can
Apologies
see
for that.
you perfectly. No problem.
Fabulous, even better. Hi, good day. Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Serious apologies for the glitch. Okay.
No problem. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Please, can you confirm when you can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, fabulous. Thank you. So, yes, my name is Lee Hayes. I'm from the FP&M CETA, which is the Fibre Processing and Manufacturing Sector Education Training Authority. The fibre processing part of ours is actually natural fibres, so not like your telecommunications fibres. So it's using natural fibres to create or manufacture a product. So clothing, textile, footwear, leather, furniture, forestry, printing, packaging, pulp and paper. So we have 13 different subsectors that we work with. So the content is for SMEs, which are vital to the FPNMC to sustainability, partnerships to unlock growth, innovation, and resilience, and how the FPNMC to acts as a catalyst for collaboration. I'm very pleased to be on this building strategic partnership for sustainability. Now, we find that the SMEs are backbones of the FPNMC for the growth and resilience. Sorry, I'm just having a bit of an issue with how my screen is showing here. Apologies. Okay. Yet the growth and resilience require collaboration. Partnerships unlock opportunities, drive innovation, and strengthen sustainability. And FPNMC is committed to being a catalyst in this journey. Partnerships expand market access, reduce costs, and shared resources. They foster innovation and build sustainability through supply chains. These are not just benefits, they are survival strategies for today's competitive economy. So SMEs can collaborate in 4 key ways: with other businesses through joint ventures, with suppliers to secure supply chains, with corporates for mentorship and with procurement opportunities, and with industry organizations for advocacy and networking. With the SME partnerships, we've seen that corporates to access export markets, supplier collaboration have reduced costs while improving quality. Industry association have opened doors to training and funding, and these examples show partnerships in action. What we have had with some of our partnerships and some of our entities is we have had the larger companies that have taken on CMTs, SMMEs, and they have been assisting them both with materials, with mentorship and aligning them with market access, and also assisting them with contracts where they've either had overruns or they have had smaller contracts that they can utilize with their CMTs for. They have been collaborating with the CMTs for that. Okay, so how the FPNMC to help? So the FPNMC facilitates linkages between SMEs and corporates, and they provide training and skills development to support innovation hubs and encourage participation in sector initiatives. We are the bridge that connects SMEs to opportunity, and this is via training and development. The training and development that we have is quite extensive. A lot of companies entities are aware of learnerships and skills programs, but through the FPNMC to allocations, or actually any CETA that you may possibly fall under, you can also utilize bursaries. You can get good bursary funding. You can get interns to come in and assist you with your processes, as well as them learning and getting mentorship at the same time. We also have AET training. So any of your learners that may need assistance to be able to get to a level that they can further develop themselves, we have adult education training. So there are the learnerships, there are the skills programs, and there's the mentorship programs that will actually be able to assist and build your business. Entrepreneurship programs. So you may have started building your business, but you need to have better business understanding or training and mentorship. And these are all aspects that can be assisted with by the FPNMC. With our companies, our larger companies, our levy-paying entities, we do attempt to have collaborations between these entities and SMMEs to help build them, because the only way we're going to have a sustainable sectors is for our smaller companies to actually grow and develop and take on new employees. So we always ensure that our companies are helping and mentoring the smaller ones to sustain growth. There are corporate linkages that are aligned in order to help with market and export development as well as training with regards to the entrepreneurship process. And then there's the employer bodies as well. So all the associations that are able to assist and collaborate with the SMMEs to build them and strengthen them. So partnerships are obviously not without risks, and unequal power dynamics can be managed through clear contacts. Resource strain can be eased with shared investment models, and market dependency requires diversification. With foresight, risk becomes manageable. SMEs should build trust and transparency, align partnerships with long-term goals, leverage FPNMC to programs, and engage actively in industry forums. These steps ensure that partnerships are strategic and not just transactional. So to build trust and transparency, you need to establish clear communication with partners. And to align partnership with long-term goals, you need to ensure collaboration and supports and growth. We'll leverage FPNFC to programs, use training and funding opportunities, and to engage in industry forums and networks, expand visibility and influence. Now, with regards to the training and funding opportunities under the FPNFC term, it would also align through other sectors as well. But if you fall under our subsectors, so you are doing manufacturing of natural products within one of our 13 subsectors, you can apply for funding through the FPNM CETA when we have an open window for your training opportunities. So we do not specify that there's any specific size company that can apply for the funding. All you need to be is a valid entity, valid registered entity. You must either be tax exempt or have a valid tax clearance certificate. And if you're going to be doing training, it would need to be accredited training. And that we can help you with partnerships with your skills development providers to ensure that you could get the training, or we can give guidance on how you can actually do training and see which is best for your company and for your growth and sustainability. So in closing, we find that collaboration is the cornerstone of SME sustainability, and FPNM CETA invites SMEs to explore partnerships through our platforms and initiatives. Together, we can unlock growth and build a resilient future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lee.
Thank you.
I'm trying to get my camera back. Okay, there we go. Thank you. Today's speakers are like, we're going to keep it short, but very sweet and, straight to the point. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for that. Just a few takeouts from what you shared with us is growth and resilience require collaboration. You can't do it alone, and I think that's why we have the CETAs and we have your CETA as well to help SMEs that fall under your CETA with that collaboration. Partnerships allow for sustainability and growth. And the types of partnerships for SMEs, you spoke about the B2B collaborations, the supplier partnerships, the industry bodies, the mentorship that you provide, the trainings and that you provide. And then how partnerships can help is partnerships help build trust and transparency, align partnerships with long-term goals. So look at how it's not the partnerships you form now are not just for the now. It's long-term relationships that you can build that can help you as the SME also achieve your long-term goals and not just your short-term and now goals. And you've encouraged us to leverage the FPNM CETA programs and engage in industry forums and networks. So I really do hope that any of our guests today who fall under your CETA, that they will take your details if they need more information from you and actually find out how can they join those training programs, how can they be part of industry forums and networking sessions so they can learn more and take advantage of them. And like you said, leverage and engage. And then lastly, you shared with us that collaboration is a cornerstone of SME sustainability. Thank you so much. We will, if we have any questions for you as well, we'll take them after our last speaker. So if you do have questions for Lee, please, I do see questions are coming in the Q&A section. And we love it. Please do write your question and say specifically who your question is for. It could be Johan, it could be for Lee, or you can just say for the panel, and then everyone will get to answer. But if you have a specific question from what Lee has shared, please say this question is for Lee, and then we'll be able to direct the question to her. Our last speaker for the day before we get to engage with you as our guests is Linda Lubengu. And Linda is from the Eastern Cape Development Cooperation. Linda's topic is networking as a tool for opportunity and visibility. And this topic is focusing on meaningful networking can help SMEs build relationships, gain referrals, access new customers, and increase brand visibility within their industries. We do hear a lot about networking, but some people don't know how they can go about networking, especially if you're new as a business owner or you're new to an industry. You might not know what it is that you can do to network and meet people. And I do believe that Linda is going to help us understand how we can network efficiently and effectively so that we can build the visibility and we can gain those referrals and just introduce ourselves to the market. Linda? Okay, let's just give Linda a few. Hi, I can hear you.
All right, I'm audible enough, right?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, my apologies. I am at a trade show in Tunisia, so my background can be a little bit noisy, but I'll try to be short so that I don't disturb the meeting with my background. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
And yeah.
So you are already networking where you
Yes.
are. Love it. It's practical.
Yeah, we're gonna talk practical examples of how to network.
I love that. I love that for us so much.
Share.
Okay, they're starting to share.
I'm not sure. Is my presentation on?
Yes, please put it on.
Presentation. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, colleagues, due to the bandwidth
Okay,
share.
please can you put it on slideshow?
Okay. Is that better?
Yes, there we go.
All right.
Yes.
Apologies. There is low network this side. They are saying that it's exam time, so they are limiting network access for students, but unfortunately it affects the entire country. So to make sure that I stay connected, I'm not gonna show my video.
Okay, no, that's fine. We understand.
Sorry
Thank you for letting us know.
about that. I would like to thank you, Proudly South Africa, for allowing me to share my experiences from working with the SMEs. I am Linda Lubengu. I've already been introduced. I work for the Eastern Cape Development Corporation. The ECDC is the trade and investment agency for the Eastern Cape government, and I'm responsible for export development and export promotion within the ECDC. And when we talk about networking and collaboration for SMEs, we are talking about the most powerful tool in our days, right, for entrepreneurs. Networking is often viewed as a social activity, but I see it as a strategic business tool that creates visibility and builds trust and opens doors to opportunities that businesses may not access on their own. And for SMMEs, they gain direct influence, right? In market access platforms, networking can also offer you an opportunity for referrals and partnerships. It also creates business credibility. It also creates visibility in competitive sectors. And in many cases, opportunities do not come from just applications. It does not come from just virtual interactions. Opportunities come from warm introductions. when somebody else is introducing your business, when somebody else is recommending your product, that is already a trusted relationship that can build a lead or a business or business for yourself. So there is real power, Anele, in networking, because it also reduces the distance between you and the opportunity. So when we network, when we come together, we are bridging, the distance between ourselves. We are bridging the distance between organizations. We are bridging distance between our SMMEs. And so many SMMEs, they invest in marketing. That I've seen, many SMMEs are very, very, very hard on investing in marketing and their branding, advertising, but still struggle to gain the visibility they need, when they are exposed to decision-making spaces. I am at a trade show at the moment, and with the 10 companies that needs to be visible, to make sure that they are visible at that trade show. And because a trade show is a platform that is engaging with the decision makers from various organizations, various businesses. It's a trade show, so there are a lot of decision makers that are here who are here to see what can they source from South Africa. So most SMMEs struggle to participate in platforms like that because the main focus these days is on social media marketing, and we seem to think that the social media platforms are the thing. And yes, they are the thing, but they are platforms that are still relevant for you to interact and network physically. And you get to interact in these platforms with your industry associations. We have just had a presentation from an industry association right now. It's trade platforms and exhibitions that you can attend so that you can be able to network with your counterparts. There's government and private sector engagements that you can also attend so that you can network, business chambers and business forums. Those are the platforms that are available for SMMEs that we must continue to create for our SMMEs to explore opportunities. We just came back in March from the Proudly SA exhibition that took place in Sandton. That was a great platform for two of my SMMEs that we have selected to attend there. They came back with leads that they could not have ordinarily got if they were just focusing on their social media platforms. So when we constantly show up in these spaces, people begin to associate with your business, right? They want to see the product, your tangible products. They want to hear you presenting your service offering. And once you do that, reliability, you are building consistency, and you are building credibility. So familiarity builds trust, and trust builds opportunity. That's one thing I want to give you today. So in a collaboration ecosystem, trust is...
Sorry, Linda, I'm sorry. Can you please go back to the previous slide?
Okay.
If you can. And if you can just read what's at the bottom there, visibility comes through because there is something that is just blocking.
All right, I did read it. I will still share the presentation. So it says...
Okay, no problem.
I will share the visibility through relationships. So
yes, okay.
relationship building when you are an SMME is very important.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so collaboration ecosystem, trust is the real currency, right? SMME is no SMME is recommended without trust, right? If I know your product and I know your business, I will definitely recommend you to the next person. So recommendations are very important. That is why we ought to build trust between ourselves and our customers so that they can recommend us to the next person. A referral happens when someone believes in your product or your service. So all these interactions can only happen when we are networking with each other. And if I can recommend your product, if I can do a referral, it means I am saying you can deliver on the order. And you are a consistent business to deliver on that. So you will not damage the credibility. I will not damage the credibility of your business, or you will not damage the credibility of the next person because you are interacting and networking in various platforms. And also for the networking to work, colleagues, it means that knowing exactly what opportunities you are looking for, it means that you are not everywhere. There are a lot of networking platforms. There are a lot of physical events that you can attend, but be focused and be strategic, right? So that you are clear about your value proposition. What is it that you are offering? And you are clear about that, if you are clear about what you are offering, it means that you are able to choose where to be, when, and who to interact with. And you follow up after your engagements and maintaining relationships beyond the event. So you went to an event and you got business cards, a lot of business cards. What do you do after you have received those business cards? What do you do after you have gone back to business as usual? You must do your follow up on all of those that matter to you, on all of those that you feel you can reap something out of them. You are not going to respond to all of them, but you are going to be selective so that you know exactly which opportunities you need to follow on. And networking does not and many opportunities are lost not because of a lack of access, but because of a lack of follow up. If you do not follow up immediately on your interest, it means you have lost an opportunity on the table, right? And you would never know if there is an opportunity worth to follow up unless you do the follow up immediately. So, as a practical example, Anela, I've seen a lot of SMMEs participating in trade platforms. I've already said that I'm in a trade show as we speak. And the businesses that succeed are not always the ones that have a best product, but it's those ones that are consistent and reliable. So be consistent on your follow-ups. Stay visible after the event. By staying visible after the event, I'm not saying that you must again travel to Tunisia, but be visible on your social media platforms. Use your LinkedIn to the benefit of your business. Use your Facebook, your Instagram to the benefit of your business. And businesses, Anela, must stop this thing of having an all-inclusive social media platforms. There must be a social media platform for your business, and there must be social media platforms for yourself, your personal social media platforms, because buyers will click on a social media platform and see you joking about something that could be offending to the next person. And already they are associating that with how you do your business. So it is important that you know that your business is a brand and you are a representative of your business. You are not friends with your business, you are representing your business. So you must always carry yourself with professionalism, with integrity, and with respect, so that you can respect what you are offering, so that you can respect the buyer that you may meet anywhere in the world. So continue building the relationship with potential partners, and over time, those relationships will convert into actual contracts and distribution deals and long-term partnerships. If I can leave you with one thing today, having worked with SMMEs in the space of trade and investment, I will tell you that collaborations is not just about working together, it's about growing together through trust, visibility, and shared opportunities. Thank you so much, Anele.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I see some love. I see some handshakes going up for you. Thank you to our guests for that. Um, just before I share other takeouts that I had from what you shared with us, I love that you kept going back to we should not only use social media. I think the way social media is kind of positioned, and the way society just uses it, it's made people think it's the only tool that you have to network. It's the only tool that you have to advertise. And it really isn't. There's still space, like you're saying, for trade shows. And I always tell people that even traditional marketing, there's still space for radio, for TV, for print, and for all these things. So I really appreciate that you brought that out to say, just because you yes have the social media platforms, but don't only rely on them. You know, Some takeouts from what Linda shared with us is networking is a business strategy. Networking directly influences market access, referrals and partnerships, business credibility and visibility in the competitive space. Visibility is about being known in the right ecosystem. Visibility is not just about being on social media, but being in the right spaces in your industry. In business, familiarity, builds trust, and trust builds opportunity. Visibility comes through relationships. And in the relationship ecosystem, trust is the real currency. SMEs should build trust between themselves, their customers, and their service providers. And then here it is not about how many people you know, it is about trust how they trust what you do. So you may know a lot of people, but they may not trust what you do. Networking must be intentional. You don't have to be everywhere all the time. Networking doesn't end when the meeting or the event ends. Follow up with the people you have met. Follow up immediately is what Linda told us. Be consistent and reliable. And then lastly, continue building relationships with potential partners. Over time, those relationships convert into contracts, distribution deals, and long-term partnerships. Thank you. Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you also to our other two speakers, to Johan and to Lee. I am going to read questions that we have from our guests. Let me see. Okay. It shows that some questions have been answered. Okay. Can I just ask Janine and the team, is there a question that hasn't been answered? Because I see a lot of the questions have been answered, but is there a question that we need to maybe share and read out that needs our speakers to maybe answer, or our guests who have asked questions, are you satisfied with how your questions have been answered? I don't want to duplicate, because I see that the questions have been answered. So I don't want to duplicate us asking the questions and then getting the same answer that people have received. So I'm going to rely on the team who has also been monitoring the questions just to help guide me in terms of, do we have to read out the questions? Janine, I can see you answered some questions. If you can please just come on, even if it's not on camera, but if you can just help me with the direction for that.
100%. So from Proudly SA side, there have been questions around membership and what can Proudly SA do for my business. So it's all centered around market access, but only those opportunities are only available to our members, and they go through a vetting process. And there is a membership fee that is nominal. So just want to encourage those interested to become members to email info@proudlysa.co.za. That's info@proudlysa.co.za. And then there's also been a request for our presentations to be shared. I've shared it with our organizer, Monique, and she can then share that with the delegates who require the presentation. So those are the key takeaways from our side. Johan, Lee, and Linda, I'm not sure from their side if they want to come in and share maybe high-level queries that they've encountered. I do see a possible interesting one for you, Nelly, to relay on this open platform now from Kelvin from Free State. If you can have a look, that's still under the open section on the Q&A side.
Okay.
That could be a nice one to pose. Thanks.
Okay. I see. Thank you so much, Janine, for that. Let me, go to there. Okay, there's one about the presentations. Okay, there's a question and it says, greetings, colleagues. We, the SMEs, operate within communities that are increasingly affected by crime, informal economic activity, and concerns about compliance with immigration and business regulations. What is Proudly South African's position on the impact of illegal immigration and broader lawlessness on local SMEs? And what practical measures do you believe government, business organizations and communities should take to ensure a fair, lawful, and competitive environment that supports the growth and sustainability of South African-owned small businesses. And it says Calvin from the Free State. Um, I'd like Johan to also come on this because he did mention in his presentation how in the townships, there is the element of crime, those kind of concerns, and people maybe, and I think this is where the compliance comes in, where people may not understand how the tender processes work and things like that. So I think maybe Johan can also answer this. And then Janine, because they are asking what is Proudly South African's position, maybe you can also come in and answer this. And um, the other questions I think Janine has also been able to answer. So, Johan, can I please ask you to answer that first about, the crime factor, the compliance factor in the businesses that are in the communities that are impacted by those?
Sure, Anela, it's a big question, Calvin, because I think all of the areas we work in is sitting with exactly the same challenge at the moment. So, and it's not an easy solution. What we found works quite well is when we start to organize as a community. So we create clubs in communities so that the community can start to understand what's going on, what assets and resources they do have. And then we've created a business club so they can start to work together, because some of these issues needs a collective effort. It cannot be one single entity in a community, especially crime. And we just found that if we collaborate better with the different agents that needs to tackle crime, the police, the community policing forums, the neighborhood watches, they're all there. They sometimes don't function well because we just doesn't organize ourselves well enough to get a very good response to that. In the communities with the clubs, we've seen the neighborhood watches doing better collaboration with the police, with SAPs and the community policing forums, and where communities are taking ownership of literally of their streets, both on a safety level and crime. And the spin-off from that was those community groups and clubs are starting to support their local businesses because they start to understand the stress that the local businesses are under. So that is what we might learn over the last few years. But Anele, it's a big challenge at the moment. And that's why the collaboration is so important to find solutions together. Calvin, I know that's not a direct answer, but that's where we are in terms of our learning experience.
Thank you so much, Johan, for that. Janine, do you maybe have a response?
Yes,
to the same
thanks, Anela.
question?
100%, yes. So with regards to this question, it relates directly to how we vet companies for membership. So if the company and our members are quite public, it's public knowledge who our members are. We do publish it on our website, our membership base, as well as you would see us making mention of them on our socials and in the newsletters and etc. So it is quite public knowledge. So if before a company becomes a member, we vet them in accordance with 4 key criteria. We look at local content. So for manufacturers, we look at your components, your raw materials. If you have had to import them because we know industry has dwindled and a lot of local options aren't available. Sometimes none are available. But for us, it's where the value add takes place. So we look at local content from that perspective. If you're a services business, we look to see how you support other businesses. Do you buy your not raw materials, but rather furniture? Where do you do promotions, etc.? So we look at those elements for local content. We also check to see quality, and then if your business adheres to fair labor practices. So we look at your HR policy or a template of a contract of employment to make sure you adhere to the Basic Conditions of Employment Act and other labor laws. If you've been dishonest, and we do find that you haven't been employing in accordance with the relevant, with the labor laws, etc., we then unfortunately not award membership to you as a business until you do at such a time then comply. Or if you're a member of Proudly SA and we do find out that you haven't adhered to our 4 key criteria, of which then fair labor practices is included, then we'll revoke your membership until such a time that you do comply. So members of Proudly SA also adhere to a code of conduct. So that will go again. So that is our direct response to the question. With that said, in the beginning of my presentation, I'd made mention that we are on our board, we have all the social partners of NEDLAC. So we do have labor on our board. So they will also advise us if any a member company or another company that might have applied for membership is not adhering to that, then we do step in and then look at revoking their membership. But that's to the extent of the work that we do. Keeping in mind the slide I did showcase, where does Proudly SA lie in the business support ecosystem? And we about access to market opportunities. Are we not in the business of necessarily, having any policing authority? We are not for-profit company, but we most certainly have a network of bodies that can help companies comply. And of course, we then support if a business is found to be on the wrong side of the law. That's our power to what our powers are extended. But we do, in as much as we can, we talk about our members, how the good work that they're doing, the fact that they are compliant with labor laws, that are compliant with regulations, and to make sure that we give that messaging out so that we always focus on the positives, and where there are negatives, we will step in accordance with what I just responded. So I hope that answers Calvin's question. And Calvin, I'll also pop my email address on the chat on your questions, so that if you've got any other queries, then you can direct them to me directly if there's not an opportunity to pose and answer them here today. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much, Janine, and thank you, Johan. There's another question here from Naomi Mjali. It says, good afternoon. We appreciate the work that Proudly South Africa is doing. However, it's one thing to link SMEs with public and private sectors, which is commendable, but to what extent does Proudly South Africa ensure that SMEs get paid timelessly, as most of the SMEs struggle with cash flow, which is the bloodline of each business? Janine, I'm not sure if this is part of the mandate of the organization. And maybe if you can just take a minute or so to respond to Naomi.
Sure, Naomi. So we as a business, we have opted to procure as where possible, and I must put a promise here that we do adhere to the regulations as government buys, because we want to be an example to government. So our own payment terms are 30 days after receipt of invoice, and we in ourselves do adhere to our promise that we'll pay within 30 days, because we also, as a buy local campaign, have we also procure for our business, etc. And we always favor, I must tell you, our member companies first and foremost, to buy from them. So we advocate and support and lobby and cry, and we'll write letters. We'll write letters, we'll nag, and we've done that in the past for our member companies. So that's the extent, that's what our involvement can be. But yes, but we ourselves walk the talk and pay on time whenever we procure as a business, in accordance with our SLAs and all of those elements. So we'll support you if you're a member company and you're finding that a government entity is not paying on time. We'll definitely support and help write and get lobby and get them to do the right thing to pay you as soon as possible. But it's not, that's just some of the networking work that we have done in the past and the lobbying work we have done in the past. But just keep in mind that's purely to help you as a business and a member company of ours. But our core focus is to create access to market opportunities for you as a business, as a member of Proudly SA. Thanks, Anela. I hope that was okay.
Thank you. I think it was okay. We hope Naomi thinks so too. We don't seem to have any other questions. I see there are questions requesting the speakers' email addresses, so I think the speakers will definitely share those. But as we close, I As we close, I would like to invite the speakers just 1 minute each to give closing remarks and parting shots just based on our topic, the main theme of the power of collaboration and SMEs growing together. And I'll start from the top. I'll start with Johan. If you can just give us your closing remarks on the main theme. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Anele. And I think from our side, we just think there's an amazing opportunities in our townships. There's really great entrepreneurs, but they do need help. As we've listened to the cash flow, the the stock, and all those type of small issues. But collectively, we've seen what communities can do together and really getting more tenders in. So yeah, we are really pushing for let's work together collectively in a specific community so that we can get the bigger tenders and the bigger income. And critically, what we've just found is the safe spaces. I think we've mentioned that also. If there's not a space where business can do business, so they can reach the quality and the standards that needs to be reached, it's very, very difficult for the smaller entrepreneur. So let's create those spaces. We're busy with that, and we would love to hear from other people that's got a space somewhere that we can change into a supply little micro hub for to go and access the opportunities that there are. Thank you very much for the opportunity again.
Thank you so much, Johan. Can I ask Lee to please share her closing remarks?
Thank you very much, Anele, and thank you very much to everyone. It's been quite an eye opener actually for me, even being part of this process today. It's been very, very interesting, and I found it extremely informative. I just want to re-elaborate to those that are on the platform that please do understand that the SETAs are here to help support the SMMEs as well. As a main basis, we are mandated to assist and support SMMEs with training and building themselves up. So if you are not aware of which SETA you may fall under, or who you can approach, or how you can approach, my contact details, I have added them onto the presentation, which I have sent through to for distribution. Please get hold of me so that we can assist you to actually get those skills up and running, look at collaborative efforts, to be able to coordinate with each other, because obviously the stronger you are and the more you grow, the better you're going to be for society and for sustainability. So thank you very much for giving me the time and space to be able to speak to you, and I hope I can be of assistance to you going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. I'm sure you will definitely be of assistance. Linda, can we close with you, please?
Thank you, Aline, and thank you, colleagues. All I am going to say is that as government officials, government entities, our doors are open to assist you to reach out to partners. You can never do business on your own. You need real partners, and we are your partners to help you to locate a right partner for your business. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, speakers, for your time. Thank you for just taking the time to be with us today and to share what your different organizations do, but mostly how, as SMEs, we can collaborate and we can work and grow together. For those who may have joined us after we had started, this webinar will be on our YouTube page, Proudly South African. So you can catch it from the beginning and hear how the conversation started and some of the questions that were asked. And as was mentioned, Monique will be sharing the presentations with the participants. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you to the Proudly South African team for always gathering us in such a way to learn more about how it is that we can grow our businesses, learn from each other, who should we work with, what we shouldn't do, what we should do, how to become members so that we can take advantage of the benefits of being a member. Thank you. I hope you use all that you have learned today to take your business forward and to share with others who may not have been able to be with us. And we will see you next time. Bye.